I know people like to see the process of what the artist goes through to create a painting, and so I decided to take some photos of this at different stages and a time-lapse video too, and put it all together to give you an idea of how it goes. The first thing I did was tone the entire canvas with a mixture of mostly white and Hooker's green, and then I drew the images on the canvas. And I started blocking in the colors on the background using the mixtures of blue and green and yellow and white, and trying to keep the colors wet as I worked so that I could blend them and make some smooth gradations. I started blocking in the shape of the Joe Pye Weed with burnt sienna and a little bit of a mixture of Hooker's green in some places, because that's what the darker areas of the plant, the shadowed areas, look like. On top of that, I started painting the buds with a mixture of light magenta and white, and a little bit of crimson and a little bit of Hooker's green to gray down some of the areas of the pink. And the butterflies were the last thing I painted, and I started that second one by putting down a base color in the shapes of that were in the wings, in cadmium orange and yellow and titanium white, burnt sienna, yellow ochre. And here's a time-lapse close-up of part of the process. I'm using a number 2 round brush to paint in the black shapes on top of the orangish yellow areas, and I'm using Mars Black with plenty of acrylic matte medium to make it spread easy. Otherwise it gets really stiff and it doesn't spread that well and it kind of clumps up. This is one of the more useful brushes I've found. It's really good for doing detail work, and it's also good for doing larger areas. I'd highly recommend it if you are a painter. And next I added in the details on the upper wing using a mixture of white, yellow ochre, burnt sienna, and a little bit of black. I made a glaze out of a mixture of Hooker's green and ultramarine blue and a lot of glaze medium to go over some of the background shapes to make them softer. And then I added some touch-ups and details, and this is the finished painting right here.